invaded Dark Zone. Serious trauma detected. Rogue agent eliminated. Detected. Rogue Hive detected. Manhunt initiated. Agent down. Rogue agent neutralized. Agent down. Rogue agent neutralized nearby. Rogue striker drone detected. Rogue explosive seeker mine detected. Rogue hive detected. Agent neutralized. DZ drop claimed by a shade agent.
Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today, yes, I'm back with yet another build video, this time for PvP, and some of you might be like, well, Rogue, didn't you just put out your, updated TU15 PvP build just a few weeks back? And yes, I did, but what has happened is, I've changed a few things up, inserted some new stuff, tried some new things out, and I've come up with an even better setup than what I showed off to you a few weeks back. Now, this isn't exactly the same build. It is a little bit different, so, some cases that one might still be better, but in general, this has easily become my new favorite build for PvP, especially with the recent Heartbreaker adjustments, nerf. It's, even more strong than it would have been before that, because now you actually have a better fighting chance against those types of builds, and just in general, I've had a lot of fun with this. You've seen in the gameplay clips that it is very strong, and I think I've struck a really nice balance for the playstyle that I like to do, and so in the past, if you've enjoyed my kind of playstyles and the builds that I portray, especially for PvP, I think you're going to enjoy this a lot, and so yeah, with that said, let's just get into it. I'll show you the changes, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's get into it. Now, if you are somebody who was aware of what that build was that I'm referring to, my old, favorite PvP build has been for the last, several months, you'll see that this isn't too dissimilar in a few ways. I'm still using stuff like the Catharsis, obviously Firewall, Fenris with Unbreakable, some of these pieces, Fox's Prayer, but it has changed in a few significant spots, and that has really changed up the playstyle and shown me a new way to play that has been very fun and very, very potent. as you saw in some of those gameplay clips. So let's go over the changes, shall we, and go over what the build really is all about. For my primary, I do have the Eagle Bear, and for this build specifically, because I'm running 5 blues on this, the Eagle Bear was kind of the gun that I was targeting. You get a really, even though I do think the talent can be often more detrimental than it is helpful, there are certain times where if you can proc the bonus, you can tank a lot of shots and take on a lot more enemies than you would ever be able to without it. And so if you have the Eagle Bear, absolutely do please try it on this build before you go and use a different AR. I know not everybody loves it. Personally, this is my favorite gun in the game, so I was very happy to be able to incorporate it into this build. Additionally, though, I know a lot of you don't have access to the Eagle Bear. You can't do the Dark Hours raid, and so in that case, obviously feel free to use a high-end AR. I've said many times that stuff like the FAMAS, the Carbine, the Police M4, the Honey Badger, those are all very solid high-end AR choices. You know, those with something like Optimus, Strained, one of those on there, you'll do just fine. But if you do have the Eagle Bear, give it a shot. I think you'll like it, especially with the huge damage bonuses I'm getting. It's very strong. It's very strong. And then for my secondary, I just have the Apartment. Of course, use whatever you want there, whatever is going to help you out the most. And then I have the Orbit for my sidearm there. Let's look at the crit values quickly before we go over the rest, because this does change a little bit from that other build, you know, the one that I showed a few weeks ago. That used to be my favorite. I was getting about 50 plus coyotes, 50 chance plus coyotes bonus, so sometimes a bit higher than that, and then up to like 170 crit damage. And obviously this is lowered a bit on this build, but what it has resulted in is that I have access to more talents and more damage options that increase the overall net damage, and that's really what makes this so strong in my opinion. So on this current setup, I have 48.5 crit chance, which can go up to 50. I have to optimize a few things, and then 145 crit damage. Let's go back now over to the pieces, and you'll sort of start to see the breakdown here. For the mask, I am, of course, using the new Catharsis Exotic Mask. Now, if you did watch that video from a few weeks ago, then my point still stands that the Catharsis is easily, in my opinion, the MVP of TU15. It is by far my favorite new thing they've added to the game. This mask is just purely awesome for PvP purposes. I absolutely love it. And so using it on this build with a lot of armor, with the kind of playstyle that I like to play with, this mask just fits in perfectly. If that's the same case with you, then run this. If not, you could try the Coyote, certainly. That would give you more crit. But for the amount of buffs and just overall utility you get from this mask, I see no other option for myself. So of course that comes with armor, incoming repair, armor regen, and then I have a crit chance mod on there. Moving on to the chest piece, I have one piece of Fenris, of course, for the 10% AR damage. I have armor, crit damage, crit chance, and a crit damage mod with Unbreakable. Some people are going to want to run stuff like Obliterate, or maybe even Spotter, and you want to run a high-end AR with Flatline. Those are all certainly options. I'm not going to say, obviously you can't do that. It's your own decision. You're watching this build video for fun, but Unbreakable, for me, does very much work with this playstyle in combination with now that I'm running a damage talent on my backpack, whereas before I had Adrenaline Rush. This works very well for me, so certainly try it out, but obviously you can mix it up there if you so choose. Then for the holster, I have one piece of Sombra for the 15% crit damage attributes, armor, crit chance, and a crit damage roll there. Then for the backpack, this is a big change from the previous one, because I used to tout the Matador's strength, and I still love the Matador, but Adrenaline Rush, for as good as I still think it is, Companion has really offered me a whole new world of possibilities. I'm not going to claim at all that I'm the first person to try this. People have been running Companion for many updates. I was always a fan of the talent, but I never really tried it in the same way that people did, where they're running with the Seeker Mine and all that, but I absolutely love this combination. I should have tried it sooner, and so if you have not tried this out, where you're running Companion, you have your skills, and you're playing with a team to where you're near people or you're getting the bonus, it really is noticeable, and I absolutely recommend you try it out. I will go into this a bit more in just a minute when we get to some of the skills and some other stuff, but as you saw in the gameplay, it's just really fun, and it's really good, so definitely try it out. I'm, of course, using one pieces of Walker and Harris for this backpack, which gives me, of course, the 5% weapon damage brand bonus, and then I have a weapon damage roll, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit chance mod there. Then for the gloves, this is the only one that I'm still interchangeable on. I'm trying to get a Walker glove that I can roll armor on that has crit chance and crit damage, because I'm not 100% sure. On the other build, I tried it out, and I think two-piece Walker gives you a very slight... It's very interchangeable. Let me just say this right now. Between Contractors and two pieces of Walker, because you're losing 3% damage to armor if you run Walker, but you are gaining an extra crit roll if you do run that. And so I'm still trying to figure out the right balance there. For now, this just fit in the best for me to do Contractors, which of course gives you damage to armor. I think everybody knows it's a really good piece. So either this or two-piece Walker is going to serve you very well. So certainly try that out and make your own determination there. On this one, I have armor, damage to armor and crit damage. And again, I'm still testing out if I want this or a second piece of Walker with 1 extra crit roll. Then, of course, for the knee pads, I have the Fox's Prayers with armor, damage to armor, or damage targets out of cover, I should say, and crit damage roll there. Before we get to the skills, let me just talk a bit about, now that we've gone over the gear, some of the philosophy here. The big change that I've made from my previous iteration is that I used to run 4 blues, 2 reds, and then I had Adrenaline Rush to kind of make up for some of that survivability. Now, I'm running 5 blues off the bat, so I have a higher base armor value, and then I have Companion to make up for that, which gives me damage. So in a sense, it's really the same type of build where you're getting damage and armor bonuses. I'm just placing them in different spots, and the way that this comes together really reinforces how I like to play, which is that I like to be able to be aggressive, get in people's faces, and have the opportunity to deal a lot of damage. The old setup was really built around having lots of damage at range, and then once they got close, I still had the ability to go toe-to-toe with Adrenaline Rush, and what this really does for me now is that I can have higher survivability from the start, but then when I time things right and I play my skills right, I have that extra damage bonus, and that can be utilized at either close or long ranges. That's really the philosophy switch here, and I've really enjoyed how it's come together. So let's talk about the skills quick. Firstly, I have the Defender Drone. I have absolutely loved using this ever since TU15 went live. A lot of people shifted to this after the shield got nerfed in PvP, and I have just absolutely loved using it. Now, I do think that you could certainly, obviously, any of the skills are interchangeable. If you don't like the Defender Drone, certainly the Decoy is still going to be a good option now that they have fixed the Heartbreaker bug with it, where the Heartbreaker could build stacks off of the Decoy's like hologram. That's now gone, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, if you like the Defender Drone, I think it is certainly a very good option here, especially for a Companion, and because I have that high amount of base armor, it's just going to, reduce, you can see right there, 11% of the damage. That's quite good when you're trying to do a face-off or 1v1. And so certainly that's going to be very good. And if you do want to use it, just so you can see, I have deflect duration, damage reduction, and health on there. Then we have the Seeker Mine. This and kind of Companion and the Eagle Bear were like the starting pillars of what I wanted to try out when I made this build, because people have been using this combination for a long time. Let me be very clear, where they run Companion and they have their Seeker Mine to proc the bonus, where it just sits by them and then get that bonus. But what I've also discovered is that the Seeker Mine, specifically the explosive variation that I have on here, is just an incredibly fun and useful tool to have in the DZ and PvP. If I want to have it sitting by me so I get the damage bonus, I can. If I want to target on someone who is trying to run away and kit, that means that they're going to have to keep moving until it explodes for them not to get staggered out of it, and I have a better chance to close the gap between them. If I want to tag it on somebody when they're trying to face off against me, then that's going to stagger them and give me a better damage window and opportunity. I mean, it just provided me so many options that I never even considered before, and it's been immensely fun. So if you have not tried the Seeker Mine in this kind of style in the DZ or PvP, I would 100% recommend trying it with this build, and I think you're going to enjoy it quite a lot. For reference, I am just running some simple damage and health mods on here. I think, yeah, 2 damage and a health mod. Obviously, that's not really the important part of it. It's really the stagger and the Companion synergy opportunity that the Seeker Mine offers that I really like there. And then last up, we come to the specialization of Firewall. This one is certainly interchangeable. Now that I'm no longer using the Firewall shield, because shields have obviously received a big nerf in PvP, really the last reason I'm using this is because of the medkit. The medkit on this is so good, it's so reliable, that I just have a hard time moving away from it, and I am scared but also interested to see how they're going to handle that in the spec rework, hopefully in TU16. But if you want to run something else, I can't, have any argument against that. The Survivalist offers some great utility for your group with the shared medkit. The Demolitionist, you get the damage to targets out of cover boost for your team. There's a lot of options you could run for the specialization that I think could enhance this build in different ways. I personally still choose to use the Firewall just because of that medkit. It's so strong. But also, if you do use a high-end AR, you get the extra crit damage mod. There's a lot of options. Certainly use what you want here. I think the specialization is probably the most interchangeable part of this new build setup. But other than that, guys, that is the build. So there you have it, folks. That is my new go-to PvP build for TU15. Like I said, I've had an immense amount of fun with this build, and I think if you ever have enjoyed my types of playstyles and the builds that I made to support that, especially the build that I put out like 2 weeks ago that I said was my new TU15 go-to, absolutely try this out. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I ever could. When I was like, let me try that Companion setup that people always try out, it's just a ton of fun, and I think it's even stronger than what I was able to create before, and so I've had an absolute amount of fun with that, and I think that really highlights what I love about the Division, which is that you can always learn more, you can always try out new stuff, and always come up with new fun possibilities and opportunities and creations. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you can be updated every time I upload. Let me know your thoughts about this new PvP build that I've put together. What do you think about the different combinations? Of course, if you have run Companion, if you're somebody who has run that for a long time, let me know your experience with the setup and how you differ it from how I've set it up here. I'm sure there will be lots of different opinions, and I'm very curious to hear them all, so certainly do let me know that down below. I believe that is going to do it for this one, everybody, so I hope you enjoyed. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.